Hi, this is Ennis from Never Stop Trucking. Today we're talking about predictions for future of trucking and transportation industry in general. This will be a video where I speak about what I think is gonna happen, and this is not an educational program. It's just my guess based on a lot of factors that I've been seeing, and it would be fun maybe uh, to watch this video later and see how wrong I was, okay? Or maybe even right. So let's make a few parts of this video. So first part would be about trucking carriers, meaning companies who have their own trucks, and then maybe we can separate them too into small carriers and large carriers. Okay, so what's gonna happen to small carriers? I think some of the small carriers will probably be shut down for various reasons. But not of course a lot of them, but just some of them, like we always see at the time of a crisis like this. Some of them will be shut down because they don't want to mess with the stress, with problems, with high fuel prices, etc. But some of them will be shut down because they don't have the funds to operate. Maybe they have loans, and then I know there are some trucking companies who take these. I call them shark loans, and I think that's what they're called essentially anyway, where you have like 6 months to repay them with high interest rates, and it's like $200 or $300 payments every day until you pay them off. And I know that people are taking these because that's the last resort, and it's easy to get them, okay? But at the end, you have only a few months to repay them with a high daily or a weekly payment, okay? So those loans can maybe help you, but they can also break you. So with the volume that we are seeing, with high fuel prices, driver turnover, and a lot of trucks on the road where people just cannot fill them, they don't have access to that many drivers. They cannot fill these trucks, and a lot of trucks are sitting, and people will probably start selling those trucks because the trucks are in high demand, as well as trailers. And they think, well, I have this truck sitting, I can maybe even make some money on that truck because it's paid off, or I owe less, way less than I can sell it for. For example, when the pandemic hit about 2 years ago, I don't even remember. I had two trailers, two drive-in trailers that I sold, but now, I mean, and I sold them for like just a regular price. But now, if I had kept them, but how do I know that the value is gonna be that much higher? I could have made easily maybe $50,000 on one of those trailers. 40 to 50,000 for one of the trailers I could have made on those trailers, but I didn't know. So people are seeing that opportunity now, and they would rather, instead of the truck just sitting there, and maybe paying a loan on it, or just you can't find a driver, and then every time you go to the truck you see something new that has to be fixed. If you can make 10, 20, 30, $50,000 on that truck, they will just start selling those trucks, and they will maybe use that money to invest in something else, maybe start something else, or maybe just spend it. But then at the end, you have no money, you have no truck. What have you done? You have done nothing. Okay. So if you do that, it would be wise to invest that money into something, not just spend it or use it for your bills, because that doesn't make sense. So a lot of small companies will be doing that. They might cut on their bills. They might, fire some dispatchers, maybe start working from home, maybe put a hold on everything. But most of these trucking companies, as always, will survive, and they will come out even stronger than they have been before. With big companies, it's harder. Big companies have a lot of expenses. They have a lot of employees. They have insurance. workers' compensation, all kinds of bills and that they have to cover. They may have few locations, they have shops that fix their trucks, trailers, mechanics, brokerage divisions, and if they don't work smart, if they don't try to save money, or if they don't have some contracts from before that they can keep on running, they can easily go down. For them, you go high up, but then you go, you fall down hard. Okay, so especially if some of these big companies, they have one large customer or two or three large customers, and they have like 80 or 100% of their freight is with those big customers. If one customer goes down or cancels or finds someone else who will do it for less money, then these trucking companies, they are done. And we've seen it a lot. In the last 5 years, I would say, we have seen that happen to these big companies. Okay, so in 1 year, I think we will be seeing a lot less trucking companies, all trucking companies in business, including small and big. But on the other hand, people are still starting new trucking companies, and we will be seeing a lot of new MC numbers. Right now, the MC numbers start with 1.3. Pretty soon, it will be 1.4, 1.5, maybe even 1.6. Because they are same for brokerages and carriers. They use the same system. So those numbers, I think in a year it will start with 1.5 or maybe even with 1.6, because a lot of people still want to get into this business. You may see some companies that are changing their mind, like, hey, why did I ever start this? Or maybe I should look into something else. But on the other side, we see a lot of newcomers, and they will just keep coming, and it's not going to stop, okay? Because relatively, there is a small investment if you want to become a broker. Even if you want to have one truck, you pay $300 for, to FMCSA to get your authority, and then you have to have insurance for one truck. And then you can even have an owner-operator be leased out to you. Don't even have your own truck. Okay, so it's relatively affordable to start a trucking company if you know what you're doing and if you have a way of getting at least an owner-operator to work for you. If you're getting to buy your own truck, that's going to be much harder and much more expensive, unless you already have a truck and maybe you're driving for someone else, but now you want to become your own carrier. And that's why we might also see new MC numbers, because owner-operators who are leased on to someone, they may be thinking, well, in order to save some money, save like 10 to 15% that I pay these carriers to dispatch me, I could maybe do it myself. Okay, and then I will probably find better loads for myself. And then we see a lot of owner-operators having their own authority. All right, now let's go to brokers, freight brokers. What will happen to them? Well, we will see even more freight brokers than we're seeing now, and probably even more than new carriers, because freight brokerage is cheaper to start. You don't have to have your own equipment. You don't have to have liability insurance. There is this thing called contingent liability and cargo, but that's not that expensive. It's like $2,000-3,000 per year. And then that's all you need besides a bond. A bond can be between $1,000 and $3,000 a year for a new broker, depending on your credit history and your experience. But all in all, for 1 year, for all the insurances, you don't need that much money, considering that you can make that money. And a lot of newcomers, they want to do just that. It looks to them more attractive than the carrier side of the business, because if you're a carrier, there's a lot more risk involved, a lot more regulations for your trucks. But with having a brokerage, it's easier. But the thing that's harder if you're having your own brokerage is to find customers that will work directly with you. And then, even once you find those customers, the receivers or shippers, whichever way the load work, the loads work, it's going to be hard to find a reliable carrier. Okay, because right now we have a lot of new carriers coming in, and if you're a freight broker, it's hard to find someone that's reliable, that's safe, that's been in business for a while, that know what they're doing. Few years ago, like up until like 5 years ago, maybe, whoever opened up a trucking business and even a brokerage business, they had some experience in trucking industry. They were driving, they were doing something in the office, they were in touch, like their father did it, or their parents, or some, they had some kind of idea of what it's going to be. Nowadays, you have people wanting to be in transportation business, people that have no experience at all. I'm not saying it's bad, because anyone can be trained, and also we had to start somewhere. It's just that it's hard to find someone right now, because everyone is jumping on it. People don't realize that you have to be safe when you're doing this, especially if you're a carrier with your own trucks. You have to follow all the rules, the legalities. You have to be honest and pay on time. Whoever you're paying, if you're paying drivers, owner-operators, brokers paying carriers, shippers paying brokers, you have to be honest. You can do it for a few months without paying on time, but then eventually it will catch up. Others will find out, and no one will want to work with you. And then the ones whom you owe money to, they might sue you, they might go after you. So it's bad business. You can't do it like that. And I see that a lot. A lot of people think, well, I'll just pay them whenever I feel like. No. Even if your customer hasn't paid you, you still have to pay whoever you hired to do this for you. Okay, so it's hard for brokers to find carriers. Just bear that in mind. If you're watching this and you want to become a broker, it's gonna be hard to find customers with freight. But then it might be even harder to find a reliable carrier that will not cancel your load, that will be on time, that will have a driver that has experience with driving, and that knows what they're doing. Okay, so what's going to happen with brokerage? Most of them will still be in this business because they don't have a lot of overhead. Brokers that have small businesses, maybe that work from home, or that have a small offices and like 2 or 3 employees, most of them will still be in business because their bills are smaller. They don't have a big insurance and things to pay for, like maintain the trucks and the fuel, all those high expenses. They don't have them, so that's much easier for them. Brokers will just continue working unless they owe someone some money and someone is not paying. Like if they have a big customer that for some reason decides not to pay the broker, then it will be like that. So in my opinion, if you're already in the brokerage business, you should probably be fine. The only thing that might be hard is if you're looking to start this right now, then it might not be the best time for that. Of course, there's room for everyone, but I'm just saying that the prices right now are low, and we don't know if you're going to be able to cover those loads for that much money. Brokers who have some contracted rates from their customers, now they can sell them for cheaper to carriers, and they can make a lot of money like that. And then also I see some brokers where their customers are cutting down the rates on them too, and they have to cut down the rates. And everyone thinks, well, brokers are making big money in this business. I'm sure there are people who do that, but also I'm sure that there are brokerages who suffer from this as well, because the customers out there, whoever needs their product shipped, is seeing this, and they are watching the markets probably even more than we are, because they're trying to save every dollar. and they are just cutting down on their rates unless they have contracts. But even those contracts will eventually expire, and they will just go down, and they will renegotiate those contracts, and they're going to pay much less money. So believe me when I say that. I know there's a lot of misunderstandings between brokers and carriers and dispatchers, but everyone is suffering in these kind of times. No matter who you are, someone is suffering more, someone is suffering less, but at the end, we are all paying the price of this. Thanks for watching this video, and my name is Enis. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, come back for more. I'll see you around.